This is episode 5 of Bring in the Heat, and today we talk with Alex from Midsummer Hot Sauce in Norway. All right, thanks for coming on, Alex. Alex from Midsummer Hot Sauce. So it's craft sauce hot sauce made on the west coast of Norway. First question is, firstly, welcome, of course.
Thank you.
Second question is, what's it like growing chilies in Norway?
It's basically like growing tomatoes in Norway. It's the same, really. It's greenhouses, and we have not a lot of sun, maybe our season starts like this month. We had our first harvest this month. Then it goes to late September, maybe. Then it's, you hang around doing nothing, waiting for... But you could basically grow it, year round with those kind of conditions. Yeah.
What sort of chilies do you find most people producing in Norway?
Oh, well, we have the only greenhouse producing this amount of chili now, but mostly I think it's just a normal red chili, like the super mild one.
Like a cayenne?
Yeah, it's even milder than cayenne. Yeah. That's what they are producing, if they produce anything, because there's not a lot of greenhouses that produce chilies in Norway. There's basically us that has the biggest one, which is 77,000 square meters. The guy who runs it, he mainly grows tomatoes. So we sort of talked him into starting growing chilies, and it's working great.
What's your main type of chili you produce? Well, I guess we'll talk about your sauce in a minute, but what are your main types of chilies that you're growing?
That is the red habanero, red savina. But we have 7 other types now going, so I'm pretty excited, like chocolate habaneros and mostly habanero types, because I sort of like the Chinense family better. I think they're better in flavor in general. But we have some annum types as well. So
I guess just going on to your hot sauce, in Norway, is it called chili sauce? Is it called hot sauce? What's the...
it's called hot sauce.
Hot sauce. Oh.
Hot sauce.
I was looking for the correct pronunciation.
We have a Norwegian word for it as well, but it's very local.
What's the Norwegian word?
Sterk sauce, which means strong sauce.
Okay, cool. Now, I'll tell everyone how to get to your Instagram account, etc. later on, but you've got an interesting images there, especially with the barrels. Can you explain how you create your hot sauce? It's a lot different than what you see other people doing.
Well, we start with the peppers, of course, and then we mash them, and then we put it on the barrels, and then we ferment them. When that's done, we transfer the mash and then make the sauce. So, yeah.
How long do you ferment for?
It depends. We have one batch that's been going for almost 2 years now, but that's like a limited batch, which will be coming out in 3 years. So, but the main flagship sauce, which you can also see on the pictures, that's 9 months. So,
wow. Fair enough. Yeah. What sort of love do you need to give them during that time? Is it you need to keep it temperature controlled? What's the process?
Well, temperature control is very important, of course. We have our own sort of like rooms that we build, and then we have like temperature regulators. And then we have some that requires lower temperature that can set for longer. Yeah, and then we have like quick ferments, which we do higher temperatures. So it varies depending on how long you want to ferment the peppers. But it's lacto fermenting and not like... If I should compare it to the brand we don't talk about in this business, because that's decomposing almost. But we do a lacto fermentation, which is actually bacteria turning the sugars into lactic acid. So that's the main difference between the brand that we never talk about enough.
It's funny, no one ever wants to talk about that brand, but they
never say their name.
They're worldwide. They're pretty big, but
I love that brand for their techniques, their achievements, for everything. I don't know why people hate on it. Personally, and now we're going into this discussion. The taste, no, not so much, but what they do, it's admirable. It's you gotta. They have how they produce 8,000 liters or something a day. Yeah. It's just crazy.
I think it's one of those things where when you start out in this sort of along this path, you start with things like Tabasco, and you start with just a simple Louisiana hot sauce, and then I think as your palate changes and you're looking for either for more heat or more flavor or whatever it may be, I think that's where you kind of the big change happens for a lot of people. I know that kind of everyone has a bottle of Tabasco in their in their cupboard, and then they look for something a little bit more than what it gives. So but
exactly.
I guess taking it back a little bit, how did this all start for you? Where did Midsummer Hot Sauce start?
Well, Midsummer started early last year, but my journey started before that. So, like 3 years, maybe 2.5 years ago. It started as a joke, really, or like a bet actually. Always been into food, and especially like the science of food. So that's how it started. A friend of mine came home from Berlin, and he said he's a musician, so he had been on this tour. And then in Berlin, he visited some random guy who was making hot sauce, but he wasn't selling it. He just had his whole place filled with it, sort of. And there was like jars and bottles everywhere. And then, so this is like a hot sauce wizard. I've never met him, but so my friend is telling me about this, and he tried his sauce. And he was like, "This was the best hot sauce ever. It was like out of this world, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "I can do that. I bet I can make you a better one." That's how the bet started. So I went home, and I think a week later, I came back to him and was like, "Try this stuff." And he tried it, and it was like, "Whoa, okay." And then I was doing that for a year, just making my own sauce, selling it to friends, basically. And then I met my partner, Anders, and he was like, "Hey, dude," he has a degree in architecture. And there was not a lot of work for him. Hard to get work as an architect these days, at least in our town. So he was like, you want to do like a proper thing with this hot sauce?" And then we did, and then we made a Midsummer. And 1 year later, now we're sitting here with trying to get the FDA approval and ship our first bottles to the US.
Wow. Were you creating it? Obviously, did you win the bet firstly?
Yeah.
Good
I won it.
Comfortably. And did you just then continue producing and just providing it to family, friends, etc.?
Yeah. I went through like every sort of like every aspect of hot sauce. I tried every like variations and tried to perfect the recipe, I guess. Because I started cooking the sauce. I don't cook anymore. I don't cook sauce anymore. I just ferment. Everything is raw. So I still like sort of I used to do like pressure cooking, where you lower the pressure and you can cook like for 6 hours, and then it's like you've been cooking for 3-4 days because of the pressure, and you retain all the flavor and stuff like that.
I think fermenting's kind of, for a lot of people that are really interested in hot sauce, it's like taking it to the next level.
Yeah,
because I think it scares a lot of people. Did you know about fermenting before you started that process, or what do you find? And I guess, what do you find the difference between fermenting and cooking for you, other than just flavor? Or
yeah, flavor, definitely flavor. But right now I'm doing this cross thing where some of it is like cooked, and some of it's fermented, and then I blend it.
Okay.
So that's also an approach. But yeah, it's flavor, definitely flavor. You get a different sort of acidity because of the lactic bacteria or the lactic acid, which we create by fermenting it. But yeah, you can't get that when you cook, obviously. Yeah.
Without adding a lot of vinegar, essentially.
Yeah, but it's not the same. It's different kind of acid. It has more. I can't explain it. It sort of hits you differently in the mouth. Yeah. It's more like kimchi,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Got
that kimchi acidity. It's like sauerkraut acidity, not vinegary, not lemony, or not lime. It's the third thing,
Did you just start with one recipe, and how many recipes do you have at the moment that you bottle?
We have one only. We call that the flagship. That's the main bread and butter Midsummer Hot Sauce. But then we will do like limited editions where we have like 500 bottles and then that's it, or 200 bottles and then that's it. So it would be like longer fermenting times, longer, different kind of barrels like oak or pine and stuff like that.
You ferment everything in barrels?
Not everything, no.
Not everything? No.
Some of it. Barrels are expensive. So we've been lucky though. We have a local brewery as well that we get some oak barrels from. We're expecting some more this summer. So not everything is barrel aged, but we try as the best we can to keep it that way. And especially the limited edition will definitely be barrel aged. But for the main production, we don't have enough. You know what I mean? So, but we'll get there.
I think the flavor from barrels, it'd be unbelievable, especially,
Yeah.
Especially
and we treat the barrels as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So you treat it with heat. Is that right?
Yeah. Roast it.
Yeah. Look, I mean, if they're used barrels, I mean, you've got so much different flavor coming through. The wood itself would be unbelievable. So if you can ship to Australia, then I'll definitely get some.
I thought you were in the US. I don't know why.
I'm in Oz at the moment. So, but, we have a really big scene down here in Australia. I mean, we have really good weather for growing peppers. But I have not seen anyone doing aged, barrels of fermenting. So it'd be definitely interesting to check that out.
I should send you like 5 different ones. I got a black one. I got a yellow one. Got everything.
Do you have much of a market outside of Norway? Do you ship to most places? I know you're going into the US, hopefully, etc. But what's the plan? Do you want to, other than world domination, of course? But do you want? Where do you currently sell to? Is Norway, basically your biggest market? How does it work for you?
Yeah. For now, after 1 year of distribution, it's been Norway. Yes. We keep getting requests from the UK, Germany, Australia, China, and India. We had, and Canada, and Brazil. But these are places. It's like if it's 5 people asking, it's kind of hard to ship. Like the shipping is more expensive than the sauce.
Yeah.
So it's it doesn't. We need to figure something out. So we're working on that. But first, it will be the US and hopefully Australia next. So, but yeah, of course, I could send you something personally. I could, of course, do that.
No
Give me
problem.
some Lord Rascal love.
Oh, exactly. And look, and all those, and I'm happy to verbally describe how good it is to everyone that's going to listen. So it's not a problem.
Yeah, I'll send you like a kit, like like a limited edition versions.
You never know. I might actually give some away. We'll see. Yeah. So I guess just take it back to when you started. You found, your business partner became involved. Where did you go from there? Did you just look for local retailers to start with, and then you're expanding out from there?
Yeah, as in Anders is mostly on the market side. He's the one, we call him, the sauce dealer or sauce pusher. So yeah, that's how we started. We just sent him around basically, and he just talks to people, and boom.
like
yeah,
a real
I'm
dealer.
mostly on the sauce. I'm mostly on the sauce nerding part. So I'm in the lab.
So
and on Instagram. So
yeah, you send around the sauce dealer, and he gets people hooked on it, and then they just can't help but keep buying it.
Yeah, that's how it started at least. But now we have the distribution partner going as well. So they sort of take care of that. And we go through them in Norway. But we have Noah in the US for on Hedonist.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's gonna be the first shop in the US.
That's a brilliant shop too.
To start with.
Yeah. How do you describe your sauce, your ingredient profile? How would you describe that to someone that hasn't tried it before?
Well, I'm sitting here with a bottle. I should just read it. No, it's fruity. It's tingly, slightly smoky, very habanero fruity heavy. Yeah, it's low on salt, low on vinegar. It's flavor based basically. That it's you should try it.
Yeah, no, definitely. For those people that are looking to start out in creating hot sauce, what would be some of your tips that you can pass on that either were mistakes that you made when you first started, or those tips that can really help push people along on that path from... Yeah.
Keep it simple. Yeah. Not trying to diss anyone, but I do a lot of research on other people's sauces and what's around, sort of, because I buy hot sauce like everyone else. I don't just eat my own. And it's funny how people, they put so many things. I mean, the capsicum family is, you have everything from less tasty to amazing tasty, things that taste like watermelon or bubblegum or cacao or chocolate, or it's let the pepper speak for itself. You know what I mean? Keep it simple. Try to, I think that's the best tip for making hot sauce. Keep it simple. Don't go overboard on the ingredients. And if you want to do, experiment with it. I think that's a key.
I think it's good advice, because a lot of people do, and I'm a purveyor of hot sauce from all over the globe, and I love hot sauce. But you're right. I think it's the ones that my favorite hot sauce that I have in my cupboard are quite simple, very straightforward, very much like a very simple siracha or something that quite basic flavors. You got your pepper, bit of garlic, and it's fermented, and it's I think when you look at an ingredient list and you've got 30 different ingredients and different fruits, it just takes away from... I think people just try and inject heat into a flavor rather than letting the flavor be the heat. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. That's the right approach. or right. I mean, of course you can make... I have some weird sauces in my cupboard as well, but it's... definitely. There's no right or wrong. It's cooking, and depends on what you want out of a sauce.
What's your favorite, personally? What is your favorite chili to create with?
I gotta say, I'm boring. No, I think it's still the habanero and the Chinense family, if you know what I mean. It's the whole, the Datil, the Scotch bonnets, the Habas, the Naga, everything in that family, I think is... But I have one other favorite, which is I think it's the pubescens family. Yeah, it's the pubescens. And it's the Rocotto. And that is something new to me, because it was last year I tried that for the first time. And you have these small black seeds. It looks like a small apple. Okay. The chili looks like an apple, and it's original from Peru, I think. And I got hold of some, or actually a lot, like 30 kilos. And, So yeah, and then I made a mash, as I usually do with my peppers. I make a mash, and then I wanted to ferment it. And after making the mash, this smell that came out of it was just like watermelon.
Wow.
And I couldn't believe myself. Like, this is watermelon. And I need to make, like, this needs to be something watermelon-ish. So what I did is I started making vinegars. And then I made a watermelon wine, and then I converted that to watermelon vinegar. So I have a watermelon vinegar to enhance the watermelon smell or flavor in the ricotta. It gets a bit nerdy.
And that's why they keep you locked up in the lab.
Yep. That's what I'm spend most of my days. In my fermenting room and the kitchen. Yeah. Back to the kitchen, woman. No.
Look, I want people to check you out on Instagram, but how else can people find out more about you, your hot sauce, and anything you want to share, really?
Yeah, well, Instagram is the best place. Facebook we use when we have events and stuff like that happening locally, and of course other information. The website is coming, which is the same. It's just midsummerhotsauce.com. Still working on that, but it's been a bit hectic. But yeah, Instagram. We tried on Instagram regarding that. We tried to sort of show more of the craft than just posting bottles of hot sauce. It's for me, at least, it's more about that. The process and the craft behind everything that turns into a bottle of hot sauce. I could be spamming, my bottles. The bottles are here. The bottles are there. Now you can find the bottles there. But I think it's more fun for people to sort of impart or be a part of it in that way. Or maybe something like that.
Look, I'd have to agree with you. I mean, the thing that caught my eye initially when I saw this was really about you were going to great detail how you're making your hot sauce, and it really grabbed my attention in the sense that it drew me in with, especially with the barrels and how what you're doing with that side of things. It's just it drew me in. I'd love to see your Instagram account taken along that path even further, where it's even more of your little videos on how you're creating. I think it's it's awesome. So look, I just want to say, Alex, thank you very much for coming on. And
no problem.
You've given everyone details of how to get hold of you. In my opinion, check out the stuff. Can't wait till we can see this in shops around, hopefully in the US, in Australia, in the UK. I can't wait to try it myself. Yeah,
I'll get some over to you as soon as I can.
No problem.
I'll send you an email on that.
Yeah. All right, cool. Thank you very much, Alex.
Problem at all.
And thanks for listening to another edition of the podcast. If you'd like some more information, just head over to lordrascal.com/podcast and we'll fire it up in the next episode. Speak to you then.